So first of all, let me just say once again, thank you to Mr. Claude, thank you to Mr. Gordon, thank you to the fellowship for joining us, and I really like a lot of the shirts that I'm seeing today. I think I complimented a few of you on it. They're just really awesome, and of course the signs and the support from the community over the past month or so, and really always, but in particular over the past month or so, as we grieve the loss of so many of our Black and brown brothers and sisters who have lost their lives unjustly at the hands of people who are sworn to protect and serve. So with that, again, I'm Mayor Colin Byrd. It's a pleasure to be with you. I want to say that a lot of elected officials purport to have all the answers. Today, I just want to purport that I do not have all the answers, and I want to begin with a question, and I want to focus on a question. But before I do that, since I do know that there are some spiritual people, some people of faith here, and I'm a Christian myself, I did want to begin with a quote from the Bible. And if a house is divided against itself, that house cannot stand. The book of Mark, the 3rd chapter, the 25th verse. Nearly 28 years ago, I became one of the luckiest newborn babies on planet Earth. Because when I came home from the hospital, my parents brought me home to a house in Greenbelt, Maryland. 28 years ago in Los Angeles, California, a man by the name of Rodney King posed a simple but difficult question for America. Can't we all just get along? 28 years later, that question remains. Let me wait for the plane. 28 years later, that question remains, and I ask it with sincerity to the people of Greenbelt and to the people of this county. To the people of Prince George's County, I ask this question with an open mind, because while I want that answer to be a resounding yes, I am painfully uncertain about whether that is really the true answer. Over the past month, following the killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis, Minnesota, I've watched people across this country and across this city have a shift in awareness and attitudes on race and policing. I've watched many white Greenbelters and Black Greenbelters and brown Greenbelters, old Greenbelters, East Greenbelters, and West Greenbelters come together to demand that the Greenbelt city government make changes to our policing laws, policies, and practices so that there is indeed more accountability and more transparency in Greenbelt policing. So that Greenbelt policing is fair, more just, and so that in Greenbelt, Black Lives Matter is not just an empty slogan, rather that Black Lives Matter is more clearly and substantively affirmed as a matter of Greenbelt law and as a governing principle that applies to city council processes like collective bargaining with the local fraternal order of police. As a Black man, and as your mayor, I'm very grateful to the people of Greenbelt who have kept an open mind on these issues and who have expressed a sincere interest in learning about and addressing police misconduct everywhere in this country and everywhere in this county, and who are committed to ensuring, or at least helping to ensure, that Black lives indeed do matter. At the same time, I want to be clear, I recognize that Greenbelt is a city of many different points of view on these issues, and I would be remiss if I did not now acknowledge that over the past month, I have also watched people across this country and across this city react very differently to the conversations that we've been having and grappling with respect to race and policing. Granted, not all of these reactions have been the same. On one end of the spectrum, there are many Greenbelters, for example, who simply feel that police in this country and police in this city are unjustifiably under attack, who feel that nothing in this country needs to change, nothing in this city needs to change, and that right now, in this moment, this community should be simply supporting Greenbelt police officers that they see as people who are great for this community and as people who make great sacrifices on a daily basis while showing respect for the diversity, equity, and inclusion of this city. We have people that feel that the so-called bad apples are improperly being lumped in with the so-called good apples. Now, let me just say I appreciate that point of view, as well as the people who have decided to respectfully espouse that point of view, either symbolically or rhetorically. On the other hand, there have also been Greenbelters, for example, who have taunted peaceful Black Lives Matter protesters by telling them go home, by sticking up their middle fingers, by giving them a thumbs down. I'm less sympathetic to those who engaged in such behavior. And so against this backdrop of divergent views, we are here today at a crossroads and at a watershed moment in American history, in Prince George's County history, and in Greenbelt history. Weeks ago, the PG Changemakers began planning stop police brutality rallies around this county, and as part of that, they decided to hold one right here in Greenbelt, which began at the Roosevelt Center, made its way up the Greenbelt Road. Then a little over a week ago, I received a flyer from an individual. Thank you, little man. Appreciate it. I received a flyer from an individual about a pro-Greenbelt police rally that would be held on the same day and at the same time right around the corner at the Sunoco gas station. Intense emotions underpin the planning of each of these rallies. Further, the timing of the planning of the rallies, as well as the timing of the rallies themselves, further intensified those already intense emotions. I believe that what we need in this community is unity. I cringe at the idea that one must ever make a choice between opposing police brutality and supporting Greenbelt police. Because my hope is that at the end of all of this, Greenbelt police and their supporters will totally buy into the notion that Black Lives Matter without reservation and that we can do better here in Greenbelt. My hope is also that as these conversations progress, the relationship between the community and the police is one of most mutual respect, even as changes do and must take place and even as debates take place. Now, I'm not here to tell you that Greenbelt policing has the level of issues that we have in Minneapolis or Louisville or Baltimore or Ferguson. But as a 27-year-old Black man who is from Greenbelt, and as the mayor of my beloved hometown of Greenbelt, I cannot stand here with a straight face and look at this diverse audience and tell you that Greenbelt policing is unblemished when it comes to race and policing. There is a time and a place for everything, including supporting the police. But when Dr. King and others were in the civil rights movement trying to desegregate restaurants and theaters, it wasn't time for Americans to focus on talking about all the good times that they had at Restaurant A or Restaurant B. It was time for them to boldly confront the fact that people working and owning restaurants and theaters throughout these United States of America weren't always treating everybody with the respect and dignity that every human being deserves, and something needed to be done. Of course, this is not a perfect analogy. But right now, although the issues may not seem as plain, this is the cold, hard truth. Black people in this country have been treated very differently by police virtually everywhere in this country, dating back to the origins of policing in America with the first slave patrols in South Carolina. While the levels and severity of this mistreatment may vary, I mean it when I say this problem exists everywhere in America. I said everywhere. And as much as it pains me to say it, this is true in some cases in our beloved Greenbelt as well. I know that there are many people in this city who cannot accept this fact. But most of the people who cannot accept this fact do not look like me. So it's harder for them to feel comfortable hearing that the way certain people experience Greenbelt policing or policing in general is different. But I did not come here today to make everybody feel comfortable. And to those of you who do not appreciate that the way some are treated is not the way all are treated, I beg you to have some more empathy for those whose experiences with police, including Greenbelt PD, have not been quite as rosy as yours have been. I shouldn't have to beg, by the way, but I beg you. When I became mayor, I did not say that people would agree with me on every issue. I can tell you that right now, there are many Greenbelters who support my views and my positions on these issues, but I also have some activists who are disappointed in me for tactical differences. For example, they don't like it that I think we should be calling people who disagree together rather than dividing folks. They don't like it that I suggest that there is a way to protest without obstructing exits, for example. On the other hand, I have people who are unconditionally supportive of our police department who feel that I've gone way too far. But again, I didn't come here to compromise on legislation or to make everybody comfortable. This is by definition an uncomfortable issue, and I can accept that. Frederick Douglass once said this: if there is no struggle, there is no progress. And so I'm not here today to avoid struggle. I came because I do not want to see my city ripped apart from within. I came because I love the city of Greenbelt, because I love the people of Greenbelt, and because I have faith in the people of this great city to ultimately unite and to promote mutual understanding, if not unanimous agreement. But if we cannot do that, if unity and understanding are not real options on this issue, and if you simply ask me to take a side, I will simply say this without equivocation. I believe that in this moment in American history, people across this nation, including in the city of Greenbelt, should be focused on this: ensuring that Black lives matter and that we must do more to stop police brutality. And the Greenbelt community should choose the right side of history by accepting and appreciating that fact. The fact that changes need to take place everywhere in this country to ensure that policing everywhere in this country is fair, transparent, and as accountable as it possibly can be. Politically, I'm not sure that that is the right thing for me to say. But I believe that morally, that is what leadership requires, regardless of who wants to hear it. There is nothing I would love more than for my city to be completely united on every issue. But race in policing is one of the toughest. Because again, the way some people experience policing in this city is very different than the way others experience it. Many Greenbelt police officers do a lot of good things. I've said that repeatedly, both before all of this happened and ever since all of this happened. However, if the only thing that will please some residents of this city is for me to say that Greenbelt's police department is perfect, and thereby essentially ignore the issues, including the experiences of Black civilians in and outside of this city who feel that they have at times been mistreated by members of our department, then I will just have to accept that some people will be unhappy with it. Because there is no way that I can in good conscience gaslight people with legitimate concerns in order to appease people who are either unaware of, insensitive to, or unwilling to appreciate those concerns. And by the way, that goes for any issue, not just racial policing. As long as I am your mayor, your voice will be heard in Greenbelt. I mean that. That does not mean we will agree 100% of the time. It means that I will always listen, and that does not mean I will just listen to those who think that the city is perfect in every way. It means giving voice to more critical voices as well. At every critical moment in American history, there are those who resist positive change, and there are those who embrace positive change. In this moment, Greenbelt has a number of options. The option that I hope we will take is for Greenbelt to be a model for the nation on race and policing. But as long as we have many Black and white and brown civilians and all other kinds of civilians in and outside of Greenbelt who come to me in confidence and tell me that we need to do a lot better on this issue, as long as the police department continues to use of force against Black men at a rate that is an extraordinary multiple of that at which it uses force against other groups of people, I cannot with a straight face say that we are yet that model. But Greenbelt has a chance, and Greenbelt has a choice. I will close with this. My understanding of history tells me that in order for those who seek positive change to get the change that they seek, it is not just enough to be right. It also matters who is convinced. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 would have been a good idea when Andrew Jackson was president. It would have been a good idea when Woodrow Wilson was president. See, the morality of addressing isms, whether it's racism or sexism or any other kind of ism, it does not bend with the times. But attitudes do. And the courage, the political will, and the people in charge do. And so as a black man who was born in the year of Rodney King, and as the mayor of Greenbelt in the year of George Floyd, I'm here not to compromise on my values or to thumb my nose at those who unconditionally support our police department. I'm here to reaffirm that I represent and am willing to listen to Greenbelters of all backgrounds and opinions. But I'm also here to ask, as uncomfortable as it may be, that we seriously ponder the question posed by Mr. King 28 years ago. Can't we all just get along? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.